Good day everyone. I'm Ivan, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is Immigration Rates at the Hospital, How to Balance Patient Confidentiality and Yet Comply with ICE Rates at Your Healthcare Facility. I want to introduce our presenter for today, Mark R. Brangelman. Mark holds bachelor's and master's degree in philosophy from Emory University and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Kentucky. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Ivan. This is Mark Brangelman. I appreciate the kind introduction. Good afternoon to everyone on Eastern and Central, and good morning to everyone on Mountain and Pacific time. This is immigration raids at the hospital, how to balance patient confidentiality and yet comply with ICE raids at your healthcare facility. So I always have goals and disclaimers of what this does and does not cover. It does provide a broad overview of HIPAA. It does not cover the laws in all 50 states. It does not cover everything about HIPAA and immigration and customs enforcement, but it does educate each and every one of you attending to ask the right questions. We will be able to understand the basics of HIPAA privacy laws as applied to patients who are not U.S. citizens. There's just a tangential reference to the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. We will respond to questions about how does HIPAA apply to patients who are not U.S. citizens and who do not have legal status to remain in the U.S. What exemptions for law enforcement already exist under HIPAA. We also respond to the question of what are the challenges for all healthcare providers, regardless of their facility, with regard to presidential executive orders. The first day in office, our current president, January 21st of this year, revoked long-standing executive branch law enforcement policies prohibiting ICE from searching sensitive locations. So from the Law 360 publication, we learned that under the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ICE and Homeland Security agents generally cannot enter non-public spaces. So what federal agents are involved? Immigration raids can include agents from a number of different enforcement agencies with various powers to enforce the laws. Because of the complexity of assessing warrants and the type of agents involved, it is important to document all the interaction with law enforcement agents. So what if the federal agents have an arrest warrant? Well, if the law enforcement are seeking to execute an arrest warrant for an immigration as opposed to administrative violation, like overextending your visa stay or something like that, some of the exceptions to the warrant may come into play. So if they have an arrest warrant, the law enforcement can seize evidence of a crime that is in plain view and located in an area to which they have a lawful right to access. Given the change in Homeland Security directives, it is important for everyone to know and be trained in understanding warrants. Carefully examine who and what is identified and specified. Carefully examining who and what is identified and specified. Healthcare workers are not obligated. So clinicians and staff should be trained to understand that information in the form of verbal statements only should be provided to enforcement agents in line with hospital policy. So HIPAA regulations do limit the extent to which a healthcare provider may disclose a patient's health information to law enforcement. But there's an analogous guidance on allowing such third parties entry into the healthcare facility. And we get this analogous guidance from the media. So the guidance here is about the media and allowing third parties into the healthcare system. HIPAA violations still occur for social media posts. Healthcare providers have a reasonable basis under HIPAA not to allow ICE or other federal agents from entering the non-public spaces. Unless ordered by a court, they have to understand that ICE may disagree. So it's important to understand whether there are any state or local laws. So here's the quick tidbit about the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, EMTALA for active labor. When the worlds of healthcare and law collide. This is from USA Today in the Arizona Republic. CNN reported on what happened next when the worlds of healthcare and law collided. The New York Times provided even more information. So where is this headed? So recognizing that ICE agents may legitimately demand entry into private spaces in a facility. Takeaways as we round the corner. Conclusions and final comments with top takeaways, some FAQs and tips and techniques to avoid liability. You've got to review your current healthcare policies and procedures and train all of your employees. Update your rules on disclosure of protected health information to law enforcement. Hospitals and healthcare entities have to develop a specific healthcare policy and procedure. You've got to cover HIPAA patient privacy, applicable state privacy laws, and the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. Avoid asking patients about immigration status. A note on grand jury subpoenas, they don't usually require an immediate response. Thank you all for attending today's webinar. Everyone take care and stay safe out there. Over and out.
Thank you, Mark. That concludes the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now and may you all have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.